Who are you?
My name is Madchild. I'm a solo rap artist, and I'm also from the group Swollen Members.
Madchild, we finally meet.
We finally meet. I'm happy to meet you.
I've tried to interview you 2 times before, but it hasn't happened. But it's happening now.
We're here now.
In Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And I want to ask you right off the bat, Madchild, it all goes back to this, doesn't it? Dougie Fresh and
the Get Fresh crew. It absolutely does. This is the first vinyl that I ever bought at Odyssey Imports. For all we know, Terry McBride might have even sold me that record.
Featuring Slick Rick.
Featuring Slick Rick. Yes, correct.
And I thought, to welcome you back to Vancouver after all this touring, I thought I would give you a gift, a Slick Rick T-shirt, The Ruler.
Wow, this is actually something I'll wear. This is incredible. Thank you.
Madchild, you are, quote, the underground
king.
The underground king. So I want to ask you about this. What the hell? What the hell is going on here? Please explain to the people.
This is my first group with DJ Flip Out, who is now probably Vancouver's biggest DJ. So congratulations to DJ Flip Out. He's on the Beat Radio and a wonderful guy. DJ Flip Out was my second group, because I don't know if you know this, but I was an original member of the Ragamuffin Rascals. When Red One and Misfit and everybody, before they were the Rascals, I was in the group for about a minute and a half. But then Flip Out and I started What the Hell.
So here we have What the Hell with Flip Out from
1993.
You don't even know your own history.
No, which would have been when Souls of Mischief came out with 93 Till Infinity, which is today still one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. So we weren't quite as dope as them at the time, but hopefully now I am a lyrical beast.
Madchild? What the hell? But then Madchild, please explain to the people. Leica?
Tech and Pressure. So 1 year later, 1994, as I said, I went to San Francisco. I met up with Dave Paul, who owned Bomb Hip Hop magazine, and he also opened up a store. I slept on the floor and worked in the Bomb Hip Hop shop in the Castro district of San Francisco for 6 months. Unfortunately, there was no bathroom or toilet, so sometimes at 4 a.m, I'd have to go off and try to find something that was open to go to the bathroom. Then from that, I went and met the fellas at the Extra Large store, which is a clothing store owned by the Beastie Boys at the time. That was a very cool job. I also slept on the couch and then finally saved up enough money where I was able to rent a room on Lower Haight Street, and a lady who was dating Beck brought me in, and she seduced me, and I had sex with her.
And how about this 7-inch?
Yeah, and this was done by Tommy Guerrero, one of the world-famous street skaters, one of the greatest street skaters of his time, probably of all time, Tommy Guerrero, Powell Peralta. He now owns Real Skateboards. Wonderful, wonderful guy. Took me under his wing, and I did this record, and then I worked with DJ Cuber after that.
Madchild, quote, I never got to go to the
prom.
But you did get to go to dances put on by Irwin Oos Indie in North Vancouver.
Did I?
Do you remember some of those?
No.
You were like a mod, like your Madchild.
Wow. How do you know? Yeah, I was a little scooter boy. I had a 65 Vespa scooter. And you know what? Which is very cool. I actually had Lorenzo, who I know from way back then, rebuild me the same Vespa scooter that I had back then, and he made me a complete new version of it with all original parts, and I have it sitting in my apartment. It's beautiful.
Because you're Madchild now, but you were Modchild. What did you look like back then? Fred Perry's?
Yes, I wore Fred Perry's and desert boots and cavern pants and sometimes cavern suits and button-up shirts, and let's see what else. Flight jackets. I also hung out with skinheads and mods back then, but the skinheads were not the way that you know them. They were part of the Oi movement, because mods and skinheads originally came from England, and the skinheads were factory workers, so they would wear Doc Marten boots and they would wear suspenders and still the Fred Perry shirts, but they'd shave their heads because they worked in the factories, so they were usually the bigger guys. So those were the type of guys I hung out with when I was a kid, just to make it very clear they were part of the Oi movement. Nothing racist about them whatsoever.
Well, that's what I was curious about. Were you into local band The Villains from Vancouver?
I absolutely was, yes.
On Skinhead Records. What do you remember about The Villains? They have some great tunes, like This Is Ska.
Well, I was probably 12 years old or something like that, but I loved ska music, and I loved, you know, the English beat and the Jam and all groups like that, and this is very cool. And these guys are from here, right?
They were from England, but they moved to Vancouver and they're really popular with the youth. They play a lot of teen dances. You might have seen them if you've gone to some of the teen dances, especially ones that Irwin put on.
I would imagine that I did, absolutely. Those dances were a lot of fun. I was 12 years old, and John Braithwaite and all those guys would come and pick me up. They were in grade 12. I was in grade 8, but I was about this tall. And they would come pick me up on a Friday night. There'd be like 7 carloads of people picking me up, and we'd go to these dances. And my parents just thought I was crazy, but they were cool, and they let me do it for a while. But eventually, I was staying out too late, so they put the kibosh on that.
That was in Braithwaite's Blue Montcalm, right? You'd go to the British properties as well, too, with John Berardino?
Exactly. John Berardino, rest in peace. Absolutely. I remember drinking Coronas with them, listening to Beastie Boys' License to Ill, driving in that blue car, and the back window used to unroll, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I actually bought the car one day, but I think it only lasted a few months, and then Lorenzo got it.
Now, this is really interesting because you were in grade 8, and the grade 12s were taking you out for a good time.
Absolutely.
Do you remember Halloween at all? There was a guy called Quinn. He dressed up as the Jolly Green Giant, and you dressed up as
the little green sprout. How do you know this? This is crazy. Yes, that's Quinn. This guy was like have you seen the movie The Bodyguard or whatever? This was my bodyguard. I was like this tall. I always had a small man's complex. I was like, no one's throwing me in any lockers. So I'd always gravitate towards people that I felt, protected with. This guy was the biggest guy in school. He was huge, like big weightlifter guy. And he would, whenever I had a problem in the smoke pit, I'd come in and tell him. I was 12 years old in grade 8. He'd put me on his shoulders and he'd walk out to the smoke pit in the forest and ask who had a problem. Of course, nobody did. He was a wonderful guy. I hope he's doing good.
the Jolly Green Giant and the little
Green Sprout.
Madchild at that time. No,
Madchild.
Madchild. And I wanted to ask you, what do you remember about your after-school soccer games that you played?
I think I was pretty. Look how small I was compared to everybody else. That was a sweet do that I had.
Now, what is going on there? This is after school at Sutherland. It wasn't exactly soccer, was it?
No.
But could you describe this photo to the people if they look at it right there?
Well, yeah, because these guys are all in grade 12, and I'm in grade 8, and I'm a little pipsqueak. So, we used to play, I think, soccer after school. Is that right?
Yes, a crazy game of soccer. It might involve some drinking, too.
Yeah, I would imagine we were all drinking because it would have been after school. There was a lot of drinking back then. A lot of smoking weed back then, too. My friend's aunt, we found a garbage bag full of marijuana, I guess, that was growing up in the wherever in BC, and we used to take lunch bags full of marijuana, and we'd roll up joints, and we'd sell them for $1 at school.
I thought you were just making keychains, but you're doing a lot more than that.
Yes, I was also making knock-on-wood keychains. Yes, that's correct.
Madchild, I wanted to ask you about some old-school Vancouver hip-hop. EQ. What can you tell people about EQ?
Well, this is them and Craig Crush, I believe, are the first hip-hop artists that I remember. I think that's right.
And Mike Desire?
Mike Desire. I was trying to think. Mike Desire, Craig Crush, EQ. These are the forefathers. I don't like being called a legend, but these guys are the legends of Vancouver. These guys are the first real rappers in Vancouver, fully living the hip-hop culture. There were hip-hop events. 500-600 kids would show up. They were rocking the shows. DJ Kilo C was a part of this group, I believe, or he DJ'd for them.
Yes, he did on this 1998 release, because that right there is a 1990 release, The Incredible Ease, where he teamed up with Ease.
And now DJ Kilo C is still, I believe, doing the Crispy Biscuit. Is that correct?
Yes, he is. Incredible radio show.
Shouts out to DJ Kilo C, really the forefather of hip hop DJs in Vancouver. Absolutely respect.
And Ease, unfortunately, has cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
But you can help him out by going to GoFundMe.com.
Okay, let's all go to GoFundMe.com and help out Ease. So what do? We go there and his name will come up and we can donate money. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can find out information about him and donate him some money because he really is one of the forefathers, as you're mentioning, of Vancouver hip-hop. 1990 was that first release, and this is 1998.
Well, I have a crew called Battle Axe Warriors, and there's 2,500 of us already in a year. I will definitely make sure that I send email out to everybody, and I'll get the information from you, and as a team we will do charity work and help him out. We would absolutely love to help him.
Madchild, want to ask you about this magazine right here, Elements.
Yeah, there you go. That's
And if we open it up to this little annotation right here, who do we see?
Madchild of Soul and Members, a Drunken Monkey 2. There you go. And that was, I think, the second Drunken Monkey party that we put on, where we brought out Mixmaster Mike and Zodak. Zodak was actually an original, he was a Rocksteady crew member as well as Mixmaster Mike and myself. We were all in Rocksteady. And Zodak's from San Diego. Mixmaster Mike, of course, from the Bay Area, and then became the Beastie Boys DJ. That was a really fun party. Zodak was an original member of Swollen Members. I didn't know if you know that. But
No, I didn't. That's amazing.
there you go. And let's see who's down here. Oh, that's Mateo. Is that Mateo? That's Mateo, and this group was called Cypher. So this guy's from Boston, and this guy right here, Mateo, is where I recorded some of my first music because he had a crazy home studio in his parents' basement, and he never liked to talk about it. But his dad was actually Harry Belafonte.
No.
Which is how he got all the money to buy this studio. But he didn't ever really like talking about it. Sorry to put you on blast, buddy, but it was kind of interesting story.
And you brought him up to Vancouver for the Drunken Monkey?
Yeah, and we brought up Dell as well. We brought Dell for that one, and Tony the Schizo. And Dell did more acid in 1 week than I've seen anybody do anything ever in my life. And I hope he's doing good now, because he is awesome. He's an awesome MC.
Madchild, have you ever met Drake before?
No, I have not.
I interviewed Drake and 40, and I asked him about the Swollen Members.
Oh, how did that go?
Can we please mention, if possible, the Swollen Members?
Yes.
Mocha only, still doing it.
Featuring Swollen Members. So this was just like his solo. This was his solo single, I guess. Swollen Members, yeah, man. I remember this logo very vividly. Battle Axe. Yes. Well, I don't know. You can speak on Swollen Members.
I don't know. I was definitely in high school. I remember this. I mean, no, it was good. It was amazing to watch these guys do. It was inspiring because they did it like on an independent level and making money and selling records. Like for us to be back in Toronto and being like, wow, these guys out on the West Coast like actually.
And then them being from the West Coast was crazy. And that blonde guy was so angry. Yeah, isn't his name Madchild? Yeah, he was so angry, which was always sort of cutting edge.
Yeah.
They said that they were really inspired because you guys did it on an indie level, and that inspired them.
I'm really honored to hear that. I think Drake is incredible. And, I keep saying to my underground fans, you probably don't realize this, but I'm an underground rapper, but I love Drake, and I love Lil Wayne, and I love French Montana, and I love driving around and listening to that type of music. I mean, I was at LED last night for the first time, and it's all, trap music and stuff, and I really enjoy all that type of music, but I'll always be an underground MC, but huge respect to Drake. I think he's incredible.
He also said you appeared mad all the time.
Yeah, I'm much happier now. Things are good.
Madchild, did AC Alone stay at your grandma's house?
AC Alone stayed at my grandmother's house. Dell stayed at my grandmother's house. I think, Mixmaster Mike stayed at my grandma's house. Saphir, back when he put out Boxcar Sessions, stayed there. Dilated People stayed at my grandma's house.
This is like a National Historic Monument almost.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of hip-hop people. We were 1 block away from the police station, and I was selling more weed than anyone in North Vancouver, and you could literally throw a rock and hit the police station from there. I used to stash it all in a broken-down van in the underground parking lot.
Madchild, what's it like to be a landlord?
Well, it was stressful. I'm no longer a landlord. I'm now a renter because I used to own 11 properties, but due to my 2080 Oxycontin a day addiction, sort of $500 a day dope habit that I had, I eventually ran out of money and did not pay attention to my investments. But hey, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm doing very well again, and things are on the upward climb. But I don't think I'll be a landlord again. I'll definitely own property, but I think I'll just stick with what I do best. And
How hard is it being a landlord? Because tenants have a lot of rights, don't they? The tenants have a lot of rights. Did you have any troubles at all?
I was really stoned back then. I just really didn't pay a lot of attention to it.
Well, thanks much, Madchild. Keep on rocking in the free world and do-do-do-do.
Doot, doot.